All right, we will go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Assistive Technology Week. We are excited to welcome members of the ALS community. My name is Reagan Barton, and I'm the Director of Assistive Technology with the ALS Association. Today, we have a presentation from Michelle Gosnell. For our live audience, please feel free to enter questions using the Q&A feature on Zoom or in the comment section on Facebook. There will be time at the end of the presentation for Michelle to answer your questions. This webinar is being recorded and the recordings will be available on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel. This recording will also be played on Zoom at 3 p.m. today using the same link as this meeting. I now have the honor of introducing Michelle, who is an occupational therapist and outpatient neurorehabilitation at Johns Hopkins Hospital and serves as the occupational therapist in the Center for ALS Specialty Care. Working with adult patients with neurological conditions for 25 years, Michelle has practiced across the continuum of care. Prior to working with Johns Hopkins, Michelle established neurological service lines for MedStar Health, developing outpatient clinics in Baltimore County to improve access to multidisciplinary treatment for persons with neurological conditions. In her tenure with MedStar Health, she was named Service Champion of the Year across 50 outpatient clinics. So impressive. Michelle earned her Bachelor's of Science in Occupational Therapy at Towson University and holds a neurological specialty badge through the National Board of Certification in Occupational Therapy. Thank you so much for joining us, Michelle. I'm going to pass it over to you.
Great, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can everyone see this all right? Let's see. Okay, well, good morning. I'm happy to be speaking to you all today about the role of occupational therapy in ALS patient care and some of the adaptive equipment and assistive technologies that help patients with ALS live more independently while continuing to engage in preferred daily occupations or activities. The role of occupational therapy is broad and encompasses many components, but perhaps is best summarized by the American OT Association and by the ALSA. The AOTA definition says, in simplest terms, occupational therapists help people of all ages participate in the things they want and need to do through the therapeutic use of everyday activities or occupations. Occupational therapy helps people function in all of their environments, home, community, etc., and addresses the physical, psychological, and cognitive aspects of their well-being through engagement in occupations. OTs work to provide expertise and creativity to help their patients better manage activities, including self-care, daily living, work, leisure tasks, and community engagement. The ALSA definition states that in broadest terms, occupational therapy focuses on a person's ability to perform activities of daily living, to live life to its fullest. For people with ALS, an occupational therapist or OT is there to help them maintain their independence for as long as possible, as well as find ways to maintain their quality of life. Every person living with ALS progresses differently, and because of that, each person's needs are unique. Occupational therapists provide advice, equipment, and support to help their patients maintain the highest quality of life while facing the challenges that ALS brings. Activities of daily living include all of the tasks that many of us take for granted, such as eating, grooming, bathing, dressing, toileting, as well as work and home management tasks, including cooking, money management, cleaning, computer tasks, and driving. Modern times have made a lot of technology common to assist people with ADLs, such as robot vacuums, bidet toilets with automatic seat lifts and flushing mechanisms, self-parking vehicles, adjustable beds, voice-activated switches, and lift recliner chairs. But many people may not know the vast possibilities made by various technologies and developments that are on the market today. Today, I will be focusing on adaptive equipment and assistive technologies to address feeding, grooming, meal preparation, computer access, and driving. One of the most social and basic ADLs that we engage in is self-feeding. This slide introduces a technology for patients who have lost arm function so that they may be able to enjoy sitting around the table with family and friends and maintain autonomy and control over what they eat and when they eat. This device is called the Obi. With the use of customizable accessibility switches, the Obi provides such autonomy, allowing increased self-feeding independence, social interaction, and meal enjoyment. I have a tutorial here, and I want to share this, and hopefully this tech works, from YouTube that explains or really goes through a great description of the Obi. So let's see if we can get this started.
Hello, and welcome to the Obi family. Our goal with this video is to ensure a quick and easy setup experience to maximize your enjoyment of Obi. Let's start by opening the box and exploring what's inside. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is a packet. This contains 3 documents: a welcome sheet, a quick start guide, and a user's manual. Please ensure you read through all 3 documents before attempting to power on and eat with Obi. As you continue unpacking, you'll notice the following content: an Obi complete with a plate and placemat, 2 spoons, a charge cable, and if also ordered, accessibility switches.
When prepping food, Obi feels comfortable with anything prepared within a certain size range, from about a pea to a grape. Here are some examples of food we've prepared to show you just how much you can let your imagination run. And the first plate we've prepped for you today allows you to take your inner foodie on a tour around the world with foods like tiramisu, tortellini pasta, lentil couscous, and homemade Smales pretzels out of Dayton, Ohio. The second meal we've prepared is a typical midday snack, complete with a sandwich, mini cookies, yogurt and granola, and fresh fruit cocktail. And now our favorite meal, the birthday celebration, with things like Andy's mint cake, fresh cream gelato, and candy-coated chocolates.
Insert the activation switches for the user and place them within the most accommodating region. Next, move the arm to an appropriate position, insert the placemat in the right orientation, place the plate with food in it, and then attach the spoon.
Start by simply pressing the teach button on Obi's base. Once Obi stops moving, grasp the arm and ensure that your thumb is covering the teach icon and lift. Move the spoon to just in front of the user's mouth. Once the desired position is reached, touch the teach button again to exit teach mode and store that delivery location. There are some delivery locations that Obi finds particularly stressful. If you attempt to teach to one of these locations, Obi will let you know by shaking its head and quickly flashing the teach button. If this occurs, simply move the arm to a new location.
You'll first want to press the choose button to select the bowl you'd like to eat from. When you're ready, press the delivery button. Obi will scoop through the bowl and bring the food to your mouth. If anything like that were to happen, don't worry. Obi will stop, back away, and wait for your command to keep moving.
Once a meal is complete, please take the dishwasher-safe parts, the plate, placemat, and spoon, and place them in the top rack of your dishwasher. When necessary, please use a damp towel or disinfecting wipe to clean Obi's base or arm. When only one battery LED remains illuminated and flashing, it's time to charge Obi. Using only the cable provided, please insert it as shown.
We hope you've enjoyed the instructional video we've put together for you. And if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at any time. Our contact information can be found in the literature that came with Obi and also on our website. Thanks for dining with us, and bon appetit.
So that's the OB. How does it work? The caregiver prepares food, positions the user and the device for optimal use, determines the appropriate accessibility switches, powers on the device, teaches the appropriate food delivery location in front of the user's mouth, monitors the use, and cleans and disinfects the device. The user operates the accessibility switches to choose among the bowls and command food delivery. When food is delivered, the user moves their head to remove food from the spoon. Some of the nice qualities about the OB are found on the right side of this slide. It is very light, it's the weight of a laptop, around 7 pounds. The charge will hold for 3 to 4 hours per usage. It's pretty small, smaller than a typical placemat, has an anti-slip surface, is water resistant, and BPA free for microwave and dishwasher safe plate and spoons. There are 2 sizes of spoons available that magnetically attach to the OB arm. And of course, there is safety detection for collision that stops and it backs away for safety in the event of misuse that was demonstrated in the video. Many may ask, how can I receive an OB? OB Robot is proud to be a contracted vendor of the Federal Supply Schedule, which means that qualifying veterans may receive an OB at no cost through the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. Many OB users have had success with reimbursement, including private insurance, Medicaid, and state waiver programs. If you're interested in pursuing reimbursement, please contact OB toll-free at 1-800 or 1-844-435-7624. Various advocacy groups and assistive technology programs may have loan closets with OB, or they may have grants to help pay for OB. For a list of programs in your state, please contact OB or your chapter ALSA association. While OB is a high-tech option for increased independence, patients with ALS go through many stages of functional abilities and may benefit from low-tech options to maximize abilities for completion of self-feeding and grooming. This slide introduces standard universal cuffs and easy hold grips. These adaptive equipment options allow for utensils to be stabilized in a weak hand, or for persons whose hand fatigues quickly and can no longer produce finger squeeze to grip feeding and grooming utensils. Additional options for universal cuffs with wrist support allow people who have developed both wrist drop and hand weakness to manage feeding utensils to allow for plate-to-mouth excursions. There are also built-up handled options for those who still have good gross grasp, but perhaps have inability to produce fine motor pinch and various prehensions required by strong thumb use. The foam buildups can be quickly placed over existing utensils and tools. However, these foam handles are not dishwasher safe and may tear or wear down with repetitive use over time. The feeding utensils shown on the right, while large in grip, remain weight and light and are dishwasher safe. These next few slides reveal adaptive equipment options for cutting food on plates or cutting for meal preparation activities. This first slide demonstrates the T-bar rocker knife and the easy grip handle knife. The T-bar rocker is a knife that is primarily used for plate cutting, but can also be used on a cutting board for chopping or cutting vegetables or meats. It's not typically great with fruit as it can slide, but it can be used with some fruits. It's small and it requires only a hook grasp. So patients that don't have an opposed thumb or have lost strength in the thumb can utilize this T-bar rocker knife quite easily by just pressing down and rocking the butt knife back and forth from tip to tip. The easy grip handle knife is a much larger knife. It's primarily used for meal preparation cutting. The grasp remains similar with a gross grasp, But as you can see, the user's thumb does not need to be able to go into opposition to keep the device within the hand. The Mezzaluna knife can be found online, and I've put at the bottom, if you guys want to take a look at the footnotes, you'll be able to find links to the internet for being able to purchase the items that are shown today. But the Mezzaluna knife is very similar to a T-bar rocker knife in that it is a rocking mechanism while you push with a gross grasp. And the knife on the right, the saw knife, is probably one of patients' favorites, especially with early hand weakness, where the thumb is mostly affected, but there's still gross grasp. The saw knife provides the handle that you can see that's vertical to the knife that allows that grasp, and you can just saw normally like you would with any standard knife. Some patients experience development of symptoms in one hand faster than another, or weakness dictates the need for use of two hands to do the job of one. In these scenarios, adaptive cutting boards can be incredibly helpful in maintaining independence with meal preparation. These adaptive cutting boards that are shown here are a prong and vise design. You can use them with one-handed. So for people who still have really good strength in one hand, or even just weakness and can use an adaptive knife, may need to have a way to stabilize what they're cutting without it slipping from their hands. So the prongs can be used to place fruits or vegetables directly over them. You just kind of plop it right down on the prong and it'll stabilize a pepper, a tomato, any kind of vegetable, or even meat even, so that you can cut away from the prongs. The vise design that you see on both of these boards is a ball lever, and it requires the user to just place the heel of their hand on the ball, press down to release the vise, and then the vise can slide on the track that's shown to get larger or smaller. To stabilize the vise in place, the user puts their hand underneath of the ball and presses up until it locks into place. The great thing about some of these vise designs is that people can use them to open packaging, like a box of mix. Perhaps maybe someone's making brownies or opening up a box of scalloped potatoes. So this vise will hold containers as well as food products for easier opening and manageability. The adaptive cutting boards shown on this slide show a little bit different design. The Deluxe allows for a cheese grater to be applied so that you can do one-handed grating of cheese. And you can see the vise on this side is more, it doesn't allow for adjustment. It's just kind of these prongs that are sticking up. So the item has to be a very certain size to go into this Deluxe cutting board. And they do have the prongs on the far right bottom corner. On the right side of the slide, you can see a high-walled adaptive cutting board. This might be very difficult to see, but if you look at behind the sandwich where the crust is, the wall of the cutting board is higher on the back and here on the side. And this allows users to spread condiments without the bread sliding on their plate or on the cutting board. It allows for cutting of objects without sliding or movement of the object. The salience of computer use has a considerable impact on our lives, from being able to be a productive member of a workforce to being able to pay bills online or just search the web for leisure. Continued computer access is an occupation that is meaningful to many. This slide exhibits the use of low-tech typing aids to allow continued computer key access. These typing aids can be easily slipped onto the hand to provide single key hits. But what about access if there's lack of sufficient arm function? Here we have very low-tech mouth stick option that is primarily utilized by persons with spinal cord injury. However, may prove useful for persons with bibrachial presentations of ALS. But even better, and allowing for more energy conservation and efficiency, there are higher tech options such as talk-to-type software, including Dragon for Windows. Dragon for Home software can be downloaded for about $200, while professional versions of Dragon software for law or medical dictation run about $700 to $800. Dragon is a voice recognition software that allows users to dictate text and control their computer using only their voice. This software has been around for over 20 years and has continually improved its accuracy and functionality with each new version. There are also talk-to-type software availability for people who are Mac users or have Apple products. There are 7 different types of software that work with a Mac that are not listed on my slides today, but if you Google talk-to-type software for Mac computers, up will come all the options that are available for a Mac user. I happen to be a Windows user, and so this is what I am familiar with personally. I have a video that it demonstrates Dragon in action, and I just wanted to be able to share this for people who may have never seen any kind of talk-to-type software on a computer. So I'm going to play this now.
What if there was an easier way to use your computer? Whether you have limited mobility or just want to be more efficient with your time, millions of users already rely on Dragon's best-selling speech recognition software to quickly and accurately dictate documents, search the web, email, and more, all by voice. Whether you're a teacher, student, parent, lawyer, or writer, Dragon will help you achieve new levels of freedom. It's easy to use Dragon. To get started, turn on your microphone, follow the simple setup tutorial, and just start talking. Let me show you some of the things that Dragon can do. Wake up, open Microsoft Word. Set font size to 12 points. Quote response, new paragraph. Thank you for asking our company to issue you a quote on the new pool cover period. Please find our rates below, colon, bold thank you. Underline our rates. Go to sleep. With Dragon, you can use simple voice commands to control your computer. You can even dictate and edit directly into web applications like Gmail or Yahoo Mail. The more you use Dragon, the smarter it will get by learning and adapting to your voice and the words and phrases that you use most often. Wake up. Send email to Mark Jeremiah. Estimate for pool cover. Tab. Dear Mark, new paragraph. Please find attached the estimate for your pool cover period. We took measurements the other day and feel confident we can get this done in the next 2 weeks! Exclamation point. If you have any questions, comma, please give us a call at 781-555-5000, period. New paragraph. Thank you, comma, new line, Kristen. Go to sleep. With Dragon, you will increase the speed, accuracy, and usability of your computer just by using your voice instead of your keyboard or mouse. Make sure to visit our website at nuance.com/dragon to learn more and check out our latest offers. Wake up.
For persons who experience slurred speech or lack of sufficient breath support required for production of speech, the use of eye gaze technology, seen on this slide by the Tobii PCI, is a great option. The basic concept of eye gaze technology is to illuminate the eye and capture an image of the eye. The eye image is used to identify the pupil center and the reflection of the illuminators on the cornea. The position of the pupil and the reflections of the illuminators are used to calculate the participant's gaze and provide access and selection. Tobii technology is patented and provides 3D tech, allowing for rapid eye scans and selections and maintained accuracy even with head movements. The PCI by Tobii can replace a traditional keyboard and mouse with your eyes by connecting the PCI to your Windows device via USB port and access everything your computer has to offer intuitively and independently using their TD Control software. TD Control is an intuitive way of interacting with and controlling your computer via eye tracking. It's designed for people with conditions such as cerebral palsy, ALS or motor neuron disease, and spinal cord injury who cannot use their hands but want full independent use of their computer. Navigate and control the Windows environment in a natural way. Use the software and websites of your choice. Stay connected via email and social media. Play your favorite games, read bestsellers, and watch the latest shows. TD Control lets you start as an eye gaze novice and progress to control your computer completely using just your eyes. This technology can cost upwards of $1,200, but I think it's always best to visit tobiidynavox.com for a quote or even speak to your ALSA assistive technology representative about options for eye gaze technologies. The information for Tobii Dynavox can be found here on the right side of the slide. And I wanted to share with you the way eye gaze technology for Tobii PCI works. So we have another video.
Efficiently and effectively bringing eye tracking to the standard personal computer, the Tobii PCI is the first of its kind. With snap-on magnetic mounting, multiple cameras, bright and dark pupil tracking, unlimited user profiles, and one-time calibration, the Tobii PCI takes the first step into a new type of communicating world. With market-leading, Tobii quality eye tracking and an easy-to-mount, easy-to-use plug-and-play design, the world of standard computers is opened up to a new input method, eye control. What we call Windows control is eye control in the Windows environment. Make use of a simple Windows control menu that allows you to choose things like your selection method, allowing you to change between a right and left click, for example. Pin it to the edge of your screen for unintrusive quick access whenever you need it. The Tobii Eye Control Suite is the software that runs your eye control. Calibrate as many users as you like easily. Change the size, shape, or color of your interaction dot or your calibration image. Access your eye control settings, or just check your positioning. Access your applications, the ones you use every day. Surf the web, check your mail, or get help communicating with Tobii's own range of communication software and content solutions. Make use of regular word processing applications like Microsoft Word. Scroll your page with your eyes to get where you need to write. Use a number of different eye tracking enabled on-screen keyboards to get your typing done. Save and exit as usual, except that it's your eyes that are controlling the cursor, not the mouse. Tobii's own communication software, Tobii Communicator, is a dedicated software for eye control applications and eye-controlled communication. Use Communicator's software and content solutions as the entry point for your communication and your computer access if you need it. For those with communications disabilities, get help communicating with symbol or text vocabularies that exist as ready-made content, or create your own. Use eye-controlled calendars, customized mail, keyboards, or internet browsers, and even access your files such as your music libraries or your photos. The The internet is the same as you're used to, but now you can access it with your eyes. As with any other open windows, you can scroll through the content hands-free. Visit your favorite sites as you normally would, and keep up with your social communication. Or just check your mail with any standard mail server and respond in line with the on-screen keyboard. Make use of helpful features like Snap to Button and word prediction to help keep up your typing speed. If a button feels too small to click accurately, open up your minimized Windows control menu and use your magnifying glass to magnify a small portion of the screen, then click there. The PCI was originally designed for use with rehabilitation in the world of communications disabilities, but iControl is quickly growing to include many different consumer applications, including standard alternative access computer control in everyday life. The Tobii PCI is our first step into that world, and this is just the beginning.
For many people with ALS, the use of adaptive equipment is not yet necessary. However, positioning and stability of joints may be required due to quickly fatiguing musculature or weakness specific to the thumb, fingers, and neck to allow for sustained engagement in activities of daily living. The next several slides review various static splinting and positioning devices to provide joint support and stability. The wrist cock-up splint, commonly referred to as a carpal tunnel brace, is helpful in preventing wrist drop due to wrist extensor weakness during use of the hands for fine motor activities. Oval 8 splints, pictured to the right, are helpful in stabilizing finger joints and preventing finger flexion. These splints can be helpful to those who may be experiencing finger collapse upon any use of pressure or force through the fingertips, such as that used when typing. The next slide shows both short and long opponent splints. These splints can be custom fabricated from thermoplastic material that is heated and molded to your hand by your occupational therapist. For many ALS patients, the first sign of weakness in the upper extremity occurs in the hands, with atrophy of muscles between the thumb and index finger, and on the palm of the hand at the base of the thumb. These muscles are responsible for the thumb's ability to oppose, to reach the tips of all other fingers without compensatory thumb flexion or bending. Many people with ALS experience thumb collapse on the lateral side of the hand, especially with attempts to apply pressure through the thumb for tip-to-tip pinch. The short opponent splint helps to block the lateral collapse and stabilize the thumb in opposition to allow for repetitive fine motor pinch activities, such as jewelry making, needlepoint, shoe tying, and crafting. The long opponent splint offers wrist stability to also prevent wrist drop. This next slide, showing the McKee web splint, is modified neoprene version of the short opponent splint. It is less rigid and may offer more comfort for longer wearing time. It is a streamlined design to help assist grasp, has minimal palmar coverage. It's made from a washable nylon covered neoprene, and a smooth side of nylon is worn against the skin, while the outer fabric is closed loop nylon, allowing attachment of the hook tape wherever the splint needs or wherever the user needs to make it more adaptable for a variety of applications. Spasticity is an upper motor neuron symptom of motor neuron disease that causes muscle stiffness and spasming. This symptom can interfere with walking, movement, speech, and many other activities of daily living. If not managed well, it can lead to muscle and joint deformities. Additionally, weakness causing inability for one to actively open his or her hand can lead to muscle tightness with the muscle realigning itself on the bone. Both spasticity and weakness causing lack of range of motion can lead to muscle contracture and associated pain. This next splint, called the resting hand splint, is not a function-based splint like the others we have already reviewed. This splint's purpose is to position the hand and wrist while providing a prolonged stretch to the tight flexor musculature to prevent muscle tightness and contracture. The soft version shown here is often used with recommendation to wear at night when in bed. Sharing this slide is the Aspen cervical collar. The Aspen collar is a rigid collar to help support the neck and extension while preventing both head drop and neck twisting, rotation, and tilt in abnormal positions. Persons with motor neuron disease who experience neck spasticity or severe neck weakness may benefit from this type of collar, while persons with head drop but fare to good lateral neck control may benefit from a less rigid collar, such as the Headmaster. The Headmaster collar allows for chin to chest support, but the strap holding the collar on the back of the neck is only about 2 inches thick, and there is no lateral or posterior support. Lastly, in the positioning device category is the humeral cuff sling. The shoulder joint is a ball and a socket joint similar to the hip. However, in the shoulder, the ball is only covered by 1/3 of the socket, relying primarily on muscle to hold it in its place. As shoulder muscles atrophy, they are not strong enough to hold the joint tightly together. When sitting upright or standing, gravity becomes a force that pulls the head of the upper arm bone down from the socket, causing a space called a subluxation. Subluxations can cause shoulder strain and pain. Humeral cuff slings are used to help support the glenohumeral joint to help prevent subluxation of the shoulder and associated discomfort. This specific sample is somewhat cumbersome. However, there are also neoprene versions online that allow for increased comfort. These slings are sometimes also referred to as rotator cuff slings or hemi slings. Instrumental activities of daily living that are addressed by occupational therapists include household chores, medication management, money management, and driving. Driving is perhaps the single instrumental activity of daily living that persons with ALS feel that they can perform longer than all others, given its low energy demand. It is important to know the laws in your state as they pertain to a person's ability to legally drive with a progressive neurological condition in which symptoms affect the use of hands, arms, or lower extremity function. Some states, like Maryland, require self-reporting to the MVA, while other states, such as Pennsylvania, require physician reporting. Your medical team or the state, upon self-reporting or physician reporting, may require you to have a driving evaluation by a driving rehabilitation specialist or a certified driving rehab specialist to determine continued driving safety. So in Maryland, these next slides are going to go over each state just very quickly. And I don't unfortunately have information for West Virginia, Ohio, or South Carolina. Being that I'm in Maryland, I have information about the tri-state area, but I would encourage anyone who wants to know what the specific laws are for that apply to them, that they visit their state website or MVA or DMV website. It will have the information on it. So Maryland law requires drivers to notify the MVA if they're diagnosed with any of these conditions that I discussed. Here is a slide that gives information about how to notify the MVA of your diagnosis and where to send it to. When you have reported a condition, the Driver Wellness and Safety Division may send several forms to complete. They also may send you a form for your physician to complete. After you return the forms, the division will then make a decision about whether your situation should be referred for an opinion from the Medical Advisory Board. And this advisory board is a group of doctors who work with the MVA in analyzing customers' driving abilities. If the Medical Advisory Board is involved, they may ask you for more information or to attend a meeting, or they may just send a letter requesting a driving rehabilitation specialist evaluation. Of course, all medical data is kept confidential, And after the doctor assigned by the MAB analyzes the situation, they provide an opinion to the division. And then that division will make the final decision about whether your driving privileges should be restricted in any way or desisted. Pennsylvania driving law requires physician report, and this is just the portion of their MVA website that shows the need for physician report. It talks about driving examination. A person who has any condition may be required to undergo a driving exam to determine driving competency. And again, this is information for how to contact the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation Driver and Vehicle Services. Also, it's important to know that no matter what state you live in, the ADED is a wonderful website to visit because it will list all the driving rehab specialists in your area by zip code. It will also provide websites for adaptations to vehicles that may be recommended by a driving rehab specialist. This goes into what happens when healthcare personnel report a patient in Pennsylvania. Triggers an evaluation process very similar to Maryland, and they will review the information and contact you to obtain further information. Based on that information that is submitted, they make a decision to place restrictions on driving or recall the license or ask a person to complete a driver's exam. Virginia driving law is a little combination of Maryland and Pennsylvania. It says that residents of Virginia can be reported to the DMV as having one of the qualifying medical conditions listed below, but they can be reported by physician or it can be self-report. There's obviously same confidentiality statement, but reports in Virginia must be submitted in writing. And here's the information for that in the center of the slide. When the DMV learns that a Virginia resident has lost motor functions, the medical review service team will contact the customer to request information on their current medical state. This often requires the customer to schedule an appointment with their medical providers, where they will submit DMV-approved forms on the customer's behalf. Customers can typically satisfy requirements with a primary care provider, but please check with your provider to be sure. Once the documentation arrives at the DMV, the Virginia team of clinically trained nurses uses policies established in consultation with the government-appointed medical advisory board, combined with their clinical experience, to reach a decision on the ability of the customer to safely operate a motor vehicle. DC driving law when someone receives a detailed written statement from a family member or law enforcement officer or physician related to unsafe driving of a district resident, they require the resident to complete a medical report as well. Driving tests may also be required in any of the situations, depending on circumstances. The DC DMV will use medical information provided by your physician to determine if a driver's license may be issued with restrictions. They may also issue a driver license that will be valid for less time based on your physician's information. Also, if your doctor recommends follow-up medical or eye reports, they will track that information to ensure compliance. If they do not receive follow-up reports within the timeframe specified by the physician, your license would be subject to suspension in DC. DC DMV may determine that you must undergo a medical or vision review to maintain driving privileges. If you were reported as an unsafe driver, for instance. As part of the driver license medical review process, the DC DMV may require you to submit an eye report from your ophthalmologist or optometrist and/or a medical report from your physician. Based on your physician's evaluation and recommendations, and any necessary DC DMV evaluations, the DMV will determine whether to deny your application, suspend your driving privileges, restrict driving privileges, or require you to submit periodic medical reports. Occupational therapists have a big role in driving because it's only occupational therapists that are driving rehab specialists or certified driving rehab specialists. Drivers with progressive neuromuscular diseases may be required to drive a vehicle that has been modified in order to permit manipulation of all the controls required for safe operation of the vehicle. Only an occupational therapist or a driving rehab specialist is able to evaluate a driver with physical limitations in order to determine the appropriate modifications. Most, but not all physical limitations can be accommodated by a vehicle modification. Driving rehab programs provide evaluation of driving fitness. They offer training following evaluation for use of adaptive driving equipment and education regarding compensatory strategies. Driving rehab programs require out-of-pocket costs because they are not covered by insurance. You must also have a physician referral that indicates driving evaluation in order to be seen by a driving rehab specialist. Capacity for safe driving is assessed by a driving rehab specialist in the clinic and on the road. Testing includes vision, physical skills, reaction time, visual perception and cognition, as well as the ability to drive safely on local roadways with or without adaptive equipment. For a driving rehab specialist near you, please visit your state MVA website or aded.net. Common vehicle modifications include left foot accelerators, lifts for wheelchairs, and controls that allow individuals to drive and brake by hand. Here in this picture to the right, you can see at the bottom on the right side of the screen is a spinner knob. And this handle here, is a hand control, a push-pull control for accelerator and brake use. Here are pictures of different types of spinner knobs, a clamp, and also one that has a wrist support. Here we have a bridging indicator lever. Right here behind the steering wheel, it's connected to the left indicator and it extends behind the steering wheel to the right. So if someone has use of only their right hand, this bridging indicator lever would allow them to access their left-sided blinker and functions that are found on the left side of the car. This is a picture of a left foot accelerator for someone who may not be able to use their right foot. As you can see, the accelerator is moved here with a bar that attaches to a pedal that pushes on the accelerator. This piece here blocks the right foot from being able to hit the accelerator by accident. These are pictures of different types of hand controls. Again, we have a spinner knob at the bottom of the wheel to allow for single-handed steering and a push-pull hand control. In this picture, there's a hand control here, but also if you look at this ring behind the steering wheel, this is an accelerator ring. When you squeeze it, it accelerates the vehicle. Here we have some pictures of different types of wheelchair lifts that are available. There are many different options, but as you can see, this is built into the van that allows a crane-like mechanism to pick this chair up and pull it into the van. And then you have elevator type lifts that can be installed as well. Or wheelchair ramps. This is an example of a built-in power ramp that goes down and up with a push of a button. However, there are also portable ramps that are available to help with getting wheelchairs into vehicles. I know that a lot of people have a lot of questions about driving evaluations and what happens in a driving evaluation and will I pass, and a lot of concern and anxiety as a lot of people would like to remain driving for as long as possible. And I have a clip to show you. It's actually from the MS Association, but I felt that it really showed quite well all the aspects of a driving evaluation and explained the entire process. So we're going to go ahead and show this video now.
The day that I got my car back that had the hand controls on it was, I'm going to say, probably my top 5 days in my life, because I got my freedom back. There's no other way to put it other than to say I now knew that I had returned to my normal life, and there was nothing between me and the open road. I mean, I love to drive. I love to take excursions. Yeah, I got my life back.
A lot of people don't want to stop driving, even though if they have some safety issues, because they want that independence, they want that ability to be able to leave whenever they want or go to the store whenever they want and not have to rely on other individuals. Talking to a loved one about driving cessation is a very difficult conversation. As long as it comes from the heart, that you're caring for the person, that you're worried about their safety, it makes the conversation much easier, and letting them know there's these steps that they could go through to show that they're still safe. If a person's concerned about their driving, I would recommend that they go and see a certified driving rehab specialist. Those are typically occupational therapists that specialize in driving rehabilitation.
The evaluation part is something that is quite extensive. There was such a feeling of relief just in that first evaluation to know that there was something for me.
For the comprehensive driving evaluation, there's 3 factors that we look at. We look at the physical aspects, the visual perceptual aspects, and then the thinking and cognitive aspects. So when we're looking at physical aspects, we're looking at coordination and reaction times in the legs for braking, for example. So there's a brake reaction measure that looks at someone's ability to brake when there's an emergency. When we're assessing vision and perception, there's a good assessment that's a big light board with buttons on it. The buttons turn red, and a person needs to react to them quickly by pushing the button. This assessment looks at how quickly a person notices the lit button in their visual field and how quickly they react to it. And this is important with driving because you're looking at a lot of different variables, a lot of different stimuli. So this looks and measures at that and makes sure the person's able to scan quickly and react quickly. There's other vision assessments that look at depth perception, so judging distances, when it's safe to turn, when it's safe to make that lane change. When we're assessing cognition, we do the trail making test A and B. So this assessment looks at scanning, it's a pen and paper task, but also looks on the B part, looks at divided attention and attention shifting, which is important for driving because you're not just focusing on the road in front. We have a driving simulator presents hazards and we look at how the person reacts to those hazards, whether they're able to brake in time or steer away in time or make the wise decision. So decision making comes into play. Is it better to brake or steer away in that scenario? And then the last part is the on-the-road part, where we go in our dual control car and go around the community. And we go from the parking lot to residential to business to freeways, slowly increasing the difficulty of the driving requirements and seeing how a person responds and how they do.
We really tried a bunch of different adaptive equipment just to make sure I was comfortable. The first thing that I needed was a hand control to take place of what I do with my feet. So basically whatever I would do with the accelerator or the brake needs to now happen with the hand control.
There's a lot of vehicle adaptations out there. So there's steering controls for allowing someone to have more control and more ease to turn the steering wheel. There are adapted vans where individuals that are in wheelchairs can go and drive either from their chair or go up a ramp and be able to transfer into a chair. And so even the driving seat has adaptations where it could rotate and come out. There's adaptations where you can have a car topper where it's able to store a manual chair, or on the back of a vehicle, be able to store a scooter or a wheelchair. For individuals that need more adaptations or special adaptations, there are minivans that can be the inside lowered and have ramps in there. The DMV may require an individual to show a report that's been filled out by a physician regarding their diagnosis and prognosis, which could lead to the DMV checking up on the individual yearly or so, depending on the state again. They might want a report from a driving rehab specialist. And the DMV may also require a vision report from an optometrist. The resources that are available to help for the cost of vehicle adaptations. One great resource is the Department of Rehabilitation. It's in most states and it's federally funded. And if someone has a disability and they want to work or they want to go to schooling, they provide evaluations, they provide training, they provide the equipment as well.
So the Center for ALS Specialty Care here at Johns Hopkins Hospital it's located in our outpatient center. And if you have anyone in your family or friends in the Maryland area or that are willing to travel that need specialty ALS care, I just wanted to share this slide so that you had information on the website found at the bottom in the footnote, or also if you wanted to request an appointment with the phone number 410-614-1196. Studies show that care in a multi-specialty ALS clinic improves both longevity and quality of life. Each of our team members offers unique expertise to guide patients through this disease. The Center for ALS Specialty Care at Johns Hopkins offers neurology, pulmonary care, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and palliative care. For ALS patients and families, traveling to multiple appointments can be difficult. Our center brings different specialists together under one roof to streamline care into a single day. During your visit, you will meet our team of ALS experts with back-to-back appointments tailored to your needs. If you have any questions, please give us a call. Okay, I'm going to unshare my screen and open it up for questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Michelle, for that informative presentation. Yes, like Michelle mentioned, if you have any questions for her, please feel free to put them in the Q&A feature on Zoom, or if you are joining via Facebook, please use the comment section. But while we wait, I'll ask you a question about the Talk to Text software. I know you briefly touched base on there are some softwares for Apple products, the Mac. Do you know, are you familiar with the name of the software that families use?
For the Mac specifically?
Mm-hmm.
I am not. I would have to look. We're looking this up earlier today because I actually met with a patient who has a Mac at home, and I'm not familiar with Apple products. Even my cell phone's not an Apple, I hate to say, but there are lots of there were 7 different ones. Let me see if I can look them up real quickly for you. Let's see. They have a 5.9 speech recognition tool. There is, I'm wondering where the 7 are that I found earlier, because now they're not coming up, of course, when I Google. Mac transcriber software, you can download it for free for Mac. Let me see if I can find it by searching differently. So a whole bunch are coming up, but I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, it's tough. Earlier today when I was searching, it came, 7 best dictation software for Mac. I found it. Okay, so the #1 best dictation software for Mac users is called Notta, N-O-T-T-A. And it says it's easy to use dictation software for Mac that has a wide variety of features to use. One of the best parts about Notta is that it has the capabilities of a paid service, but is available for free with a basic plan. It supports multiple languages, allows you to dictate text in any language you prefer. It's also best in class when it comes to privacy. it's good to know that your data won't be shared and collected by third parties. So there's the website that I'm on right now is noda.ai/en/blog/dictation software.
Noda.
Let's see if there's another one. Number 2, they have Apple Dictation. So Apple Dictation is built-in dictation software for Mac users, so it's already built into the computer. The best part of it is that it is pre-installed and then it's easy to start using right away without extra downloads. The speech-to-text software for Mac comes with a wide range of features. It not only is able to transcribe your spoken audio, but there are several voice commands for editing and formatting text as well.
Nice. Well,
Yep.
Thank you.
So there's a bunch of them.
Looks like we have another question as well. Can you talk about voice banking options, please?
So that's interesting. That's usually handled by our assistive technology specialists through the ALSA, but voice banking is really, I think it's wonderful to do so that you can use your own voice when you need an AAC device as opposed to a more robotic voice. But I don't know, I personally have not had any experience with the use of voice banking or how it's utilized. I know that the assistive technology representatives usually send people information by email or in the mail on how they can register and bank their voice for that type of technology.
Yes, and I will say, if you look back on some of our previous AT Week presentations on our YouTube channel, you can find some great information there or reach directly out to your local AT specialist for that. And that is the only question I saw come through today. So thank you so much, Michelle. I really appreciate you being here and presenting to our ALS community. And thank you all for joining us today. We have one more AT Week presentation, which will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. with inclusive technology. It's about the Skyle, which is a eye tracking bar for the iPad Pro. And then if you missed something today and you want to watch Michelle's presentation, it will be played today at 3 p.m. on this same Zoom link, or you can find it on our YouTube channel or Facebook page. So again, thank you all for joining us today, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks. Bye.
Here, bye.